Back here on First Things First, we're going viral. Yesterday, the Warriors defeated the Pelicans in New Orleans to take a 3-1 series lead. And New Orleans Saints running back Mark Ingram was back at it again. Check him out doing the backpack kick,
Oh, don't fool with him. No. He's a master.
That is real speed, actually.
Backpack kid can't get it like that. Get it, Mark?
You really like this guy, too.
Oh, I love him, man. Great guy. A consummate pro. Really works hard on his game.
Oh, good.
They were going to give up on him in New Orleans a couple of years ago, but he is committed to being in the best shape. He's been working out with us since he left Alabama.
You can just see that with the naked eye, that the last year in particular and last couple of years looks better.
Yeah, my daughter used to babysit his kids, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That New Orleans Pelicans mascot, though, is scary. Mark Ingram is taken, is the focal point of that picture, but that Pelicans mascot is like the thing of nightmares.
I'm not really big on the mascots. All of them kind of scare me because all of them stink, man. Those uniforms smell. It's like they always want to hug you and everything, and it's like, And mascots
take liberties that no one else would take. As far as with physical contact, you're hidden.
Nobody could see you.
I feel like there's some harassment.
That funk ain't hidden.
That funk ain't hidden?
Dry cleaner.
Well, imagine what it's like in the
service announcers.
Sweating in there. Time for some stories to start your morning. Last night, James Harden and Chris Paul combined for 51 points to give the Rockets a 3-1 series lead over the Jazz. Houston can close out the series on Tuesday. Nick, how impressive was Houston last night?
Last night and Game 3, the 2 games in Utah. Yep. I said I wasn't going to panic over the first loss. Now, if they came back to Houston 2-2, be reason for concern, even if they just took the one in Utah. The Rockets' most impressive thing about them these last 2 games is they lost Game 2, and we said, they didn't hit threes. They only hit 10 threes. Games 3 and 4 hit 11 and 10 threes, and they still won those games handily, despite not hitting the 3-ball. This team played defensively a near-perfect game last night.
Yeah, giving up about 90 points a game in those 2 games to Utah. And the reason why you didn't have to get concerned is because Houston went after Utah in the first quarter of both of those games. They knew that they had lost home court advantage, but they knew they were the best team in the league. And they initially took to the court, dominated the first quarter in both of these games to get both of those wins.
All right, on to the Warriors, who looked golden yesterday. They beat the Pelicans by 26 points to take a commanding 3-1 series lead. Kevin Durant was in the zone, dropping 38 points. His teammate, Andre Iguodala, he was next to the zone. He said KD kind of reminded him of MJ in this one. CC, what impressed you most about Durant's performance yesterday?
Oh, he can get any shot he wanted on the court. How patient he was once he got the ball. He wasn't in a rush. They weren't going to double team him. But he wasn't shooting a lot of threes. Man, so many mid-range jumpers just went right over top of Drew Holiday, went right over top of the brow. Man, there was no answer for him. He looked like the most dangerous offensive player in the NBA yesterday.
Listen, for Game 5, the Pelicans, I know it's a lot to ask of your guy because you need him to go for 35 points. Anthony Davis has to guard him. Like the Drew Holiday guarding him experiment has to end. Each one more guarding him has to end. You have to get someone that can put a hand in his face. How many shots last night was it theoretically a good contest? Like the guy was right there, but it was a clear, easy practice shot for KD because he's so much bigger. KD, and by the way, good job by him going away from the threes. He was shooting less than 25% of the playoffs from 3. Just killed him with mid-range games all night. He was outstanding yesterday.
All right, the Raptors lost on Saturday to fall behind 0-3 to the Cavs. Kyle Lowry played well, but their other star, guard DeMar DeRozan, boy, he had one of the worst games of the season. DeRozan was benched, didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. Here's what he had to say after the game.
Extremely hard, extremely hard. I never want to be over there, watch, especially the competitor I am. Just want to be out there, help my team win more than anything, so it definitely sucks to be watching. But like I said, we got to give credit to them guys. We fought hard, gave ourselves the chance to win. Just, hoping we win, winning cures everything, That's the only thing that goes across my mind. As long as we win, it cures anything, a bad night, individually, everything. So I was just hoping for them guys to pull it out and win.
Say they've got an uphill battle would be quite the understatement. What do you make of DeMar DeRozan being benched in the fourth inning?
It's a really tough situation. because it wasn't, I don't think it was Dwayne Casey's plan to bench him. He took him out at the end of the third quarter, as he customarily does. Yeah. He started the fourth quarter on the bench, as he customarily does. Yeah. And they got back in the game. They had their best quarter in the series.
I wouldn't say that he was actually benched. He just changed the rotation. Because when you're benched, you're actually playing bad. The coach sees that you're playing bad and takes you out of the game. He came out in his normal rotation. They stormed back. I thought the coach made the right move. Now, he made a couple other moves that I will question, but as far as leaving the backups in there, because they did bring the team back, their biggest problem was not those 14 minutes. Their biggest problem was they didn't get that last stop. Because they get that last stop, they can bring DeMar back in the overtime. He's got 5 minutes. He got a clean slate. Then he's got a chance to redeem himself. But they don't get the final stop. So now the totality of it hits them. They're down 3-0. The player who they've invested in, believed in, he's going to be the guy to help us turn around. He was on the bench, so it just doesn't look, it does not look good for the Raptors or DeMar.
Listen, Dwayne Casey can be criticized for a lot of things in this basketball game. I'm not laying the blame on him for this. The blame's on the player. I like DeMar DeRozan. I've been saying all year that I think he's a fringe All-NBA guy. He would have had a spot on my ballot. He was one of the 6 best guards in the NBA this year. But this is your biggest game of the season. This is a game that you guys have to have. And he's minus 23 in 27 minutes on the court. Minus 23. He's 3 for 12. People, if they just look at the box score, they would think J.R. Smith played a really bad game because he had 0 points. J.R. was extraordinary on DeMar DeRozan defensively. J.R. is not Kawhi Leonard. You can't let J.R. Smith shut you down. And you can't, in your biggest game of the season, the only way your season stays alive, play as poorly as he did. He kind of bound Dwayne Casey's hands when the team ended up playing well in the fourth quarter without him, and his best friend and backcourt mate, Kyle Lowry, was doing everything for him.
So do you agree?
And Cleveland was giving Lowry more space. That was their game plan, give him more space and let him shoot.
You're okay with him on the bench, with Dwayne Casey keeping him on the bench?
He had to.
They were, again, I think CeCe's point's correct. It wasn't the plan. The plan was your normal rotation. Out for the final 2 minutes of the third, first 2 minutes of the fourth, play the last 10. But the Raptors were playing so well, I'm sure he was waiting for them to hit a lull to put it back in. They never hit a lull. They tied the game up. And I do think he would have started overtime. People were speculating, would he have left him on the bench to start overtime? I say no chance. He would have let him start overtime.
All right, let's get to the other series in the Eastern Conference, Sixers and Celtics. If I told you one of those two teams would be up 3-0, Sixers dominant, confident, Celtics depleted, injured, who would you have picked? Certainly not the Celtics, said everyone but Brad Stevens. But after Game 3 Saturday night, Boston is now on the verge of sweeping the once red-hot 76ers. The members of the Boston Celtics were united in praise for their coach after the game.
Brad is a genius, man. Unbelievable. You know, sometimes he draws stuff up and I look at him like, I didn't think, but Marcus delivered it. Great pass. I missed some shots that I normally make there, but I made that one, so it's good.
It sucked to lose this way. I felt like we had control of the whole game, especially when we made that run at the end of the first half. We felt really good, but we made a couple mistakes at the end, and it wasn't good on our part.
All right, CeCe, there's so many things you can point to here, but let's start with coming at it from the Celtics angle, because they're the ones up 3-0. How have they been able to do this, going up against a healthy, strong, confident, or once confident Sixers team?
Brad Stevens and the coaching staff have this team playing amazing. They're shooting the basketball. They get into different sets that the players are comfortable with, making big shots. I mean, they're young players playing spectacular. Jaylen Brown coming back in, giving them a lift, even with a bad hamstring. But they have a superstar in Tatum. Tatum has lifted his game where he's for a rookie. Look at all the rookies in the playoffs. Look at where they are in the second round. We were talking about, man, this is odd. We got all these rookies playing well. Round number 1, we get to the semifinals. We don't have so many rookies playing well.
Right.
We actually have one rookie that's playing well, and that's Jason Tatum. He's probably one of the biggest reasons, him, Terry Rozier, why the Celtics are playing this amazing, besides Brad Stevens showing the world that he's a great basketball coach.
Listen, I'm glad you brought up Brad Stevens, because I usually bring up Brad Stevens. I'm going to talk about the players. Jenna, let me ask you a question. Your guy, Danny Ainge, what's the free agent acquisition he's been most criticized for?
Al Horford, probably.
Al Horford.
Well, could they gave Al max contract a couple years ago? No one thought he'd be playing this well right now, and he's not. He's not putting up monster numbers, but he has owned Joel Embiid.
Exactly right. And I mean, the only thing, he is playing that well. He's just statistically not playing amazing. But what he is doing defensively on Embiid and the way he's dominating Embiid on the other end. Horford in this series is a plus 47 when playing the 5. His ability to not only do that with his own scoring, but to remove Embiid from under the basket. Embiid's got to guard him out near the three-point line, which removes some of his defensive player of the year capability. He's been extraordinary. You add to it Jason Tatum. I mean, this is remarkable. Like, Jason Tatum's going to come in third in Rookie of the Year and going to be the best player on a conference finalist. What he has done, breaking Larry Bird's record for 5 straight games with 20-plus points in the playoffs as a rookie. And the one other thing Boston has going for it that is an underrated thing in the playoffs is they have zero what people in NBA circles call lame ducks. And Philly's got a bunch of them. Guys that if they get the ball, if they don't have an open shot, there's nothing they can do to you. Right? Philly's got J.J. Redick's a guy who I think is an excellent player, so it sounds more derogatory than it is. But if J.J.'s not getting the shot, he's not hurting you in any other way. Every guy Boston puts out there can either hurt you with the shot or will at least take the shot, can beat you off the dribble, or can find an open man through passes. Like, all of them are triple threats. They have no lame ducks on the court, which make them so hard to defend.
They're a great defensive team. I mean, we saw in the playoffs teams step it up through energy, but Boston through the season, you'd argue, are they the best defensive team in the NBA? You could argue that. In the playoffs, to me, they're the best defensive team left of the playoff teams.
And also, what did we talk about with the Sixers? That if there was going to be any thorn for them, it was going to be the fact that they're a little bit younger, they don't have playoff experience, and that was going to bite them. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, this isn't an old veteran Celtics team, and somehow they came out and sort of debunked the whole playoff experience thing, came at the 76ers strong, defended well, and they're up 3-0.
The Celtics are a younger team on average than Philadelphia. Where the Celtics have the edge, and this isn't a knock on Brett Brown, is the coaching out of timeouts.
It is a knock on the coach, though. Anytime you can say that the coaching is better, it's got to be a knock on it. Because there's only 8 teams left playing, all right? So when you start looking at the tail of the tape and you can say, wow, they have a decisive edge in coaching, it has to be a knock on the coach.
Unless you think the guy on the other side is the best coach in the league, and they'd have a decisive edge on almost every team in the league, which is what I think about Brad Stevens, pardon me. But the other part of it is that he is asking guys to do what they do best and not asking them to do anything else. It's why this team has been almost interchangeable with the pieces they can put out there. And one other thing that was a Philly bugaboo all year long and where Boston was extraordinary all year long, the late game execution. Philly was a terrible fourth quarter team throughout the regular season. In the first round against Miami, they were awesome at it. It's come back again in this series. And Boston just won a road playoff game. First road playoff game they've won all series en route to probably winning in 5 games.
Yeah, Brett Brown has played a role in all 3 games the team has lost. You can look at them and be like, you can blame it on the player, Ben Simmons disappearing, but also the coach has been a detriment in all 3 losses to Boston.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll talk a lot more about this coming up. But on the other side, why doesn't anyone want to sign Des Bryant? It's next on First Things First. And they say it with a smile, then it makes it all good. It's next.
Baseball Buzz, Monday, May 7th.
Mike Trout is on his way to another great season. He continues to dominate at the plate thanks to his incredible power.
Headed toward the rocks.